think we're good. Cool. All right, we're live. Hey guys, happy Friday. Hope you're looking forward to the weekend. So, hey Mackenzie, happy Friday. Hey Chris, hey, hello. All right, so it's funny because I was trying to coordinate my day around the stuff this evening. So I was gonna, after our live today, then we're gonna have also, we're supposed to do like a channeling or slash I guess you can call it therapy session with Shannon, but he has a bad sinus infection, so he's like not doing it, so that's okay. I'm like, all right, well, so I might just do my normal study group or turn it into another spiritual conversation type of thing. So it might just be one of those. So just FYI with you guys. So hi guys. All right, so here we are. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who are new, this is your opportunity to ask me your questions. And if you want to ask me a question about your life or about a situation you need clarity on, be specific and what is your question. That's pretty much what you need to put down. If you give me a general question or a vague question, I'm going to skip you because it's going to take too much time to figure out what exactly you want to know. If I know sometimes people will ask, tell me about my finances. I'm like, okay, tomorrow you're going to spend $2. What exactly do you want to know? Because we can go into a bunch of different directions. So you got to be specific. So if you're asking about something in your life, be specific about the situation or the question itself. If you want to ask me about your loved one in spirit, who do you want to connect to? And then I'll try to connect to that person and bring through any information to help you feel, to know that they're with you as well. So just FYI with that. A lot of people don't realize how this works, how my ability works. I did a video on TikTok, by the way. Yeah, guys, I should get onto my TikTok. So if you haven't followed me on TikTok, follow me on there because I do a lot of funny stuff on there. But basically the way this works is when I tune into a spirit, I don't see them in front of me and I don't hear them in my ear. So it's not like they're in front of me speaking complete sentences. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way for any medium, because if it did, then a lot of mediums would get a lot more information pretty precise, and that's not the case. It's all fragmented, pieced together information, meaning that as soon as I connect with a spirit, what starts to happen is they will connect to my mind. And more than one spirit can connect to my brain, but they will connect to my brain, and then they have access because I've given them permission to use me. So they have access to my thoughts, to what's in my head, to my emotions, and to my memories. So what they start to do is they get in there and they start to manipulate my thoughts, my emotions, and my memories. So what I do is I essentially just give myself permission to pay attention and listen inside of my head. And whatever comes up, I run with it and I try to figure out what that means. So if they give me a number, I try to figure out what does the number mean. Usually it means a date of significance or some sort of significance to the number. If they show me a memory, usually it's not the full memory in my life that they're trying to use. It's a piece of the memory that they're trying to get me to focus on. So when a memory comes up in my mind of me having an experience in my life, I pay attention to what is highlighted or what seems to be the loudest part of that memory, and then I start to break that down and break it apart, and then I try to latch on to the piece they want me to understand, and then I try to figure out what they mean with that. Sometimes I have to put 2 or 3 pieces together to kind of figure out where they're going with it. Sometimes I never figure out what it means just because I don't have enough of a backstory, but I still try to share it because sometimes, and this has happened in instances when I do private readings, where I am getting a message from a spirit, I'm telling the person what they are telling me or giving me, and the person, the client, knows exactly what they're talking about. I have no idea what is being spoken upon, but I still share it. And so that sometimes happens, and it's okay. I don't need to know everything. I'm nosy. I want to know everything, but I don't need to know everything as long as it makes sense to the person that I'm sharing that with. And so sometimes that happens. So that's what happens with the spirit. So they're going to try to use whatever is at their disposal. If they give me names, they're going to try to sound it out or spell a name as close to it as possible. And they usually give me their name, the name of someone alive that they want to specifically acknowledge or bring up, or someone that's with them in spirit. So just so y'all know what the name connections are. They also, and if you want to be on camera, guys, and when I say guys, I mean everybody, guys and gals. I just say guys. But if you want to be on camera, you need to get to Instagram, because that's where I do all of the camera work with people coming on and being live. So you can request to be a guest right down here in Instagram. There's a little like camera button with a plus or with like a cross in it. You click that, you can request to be a guest for me. And then when I go and pick people, that's where I pick them from. Is from that. And so for those of you who are like pick me, but you don't request it, like I'm not even gonna realize you asked me, because that's where I pick it from. So that's how you get to me, okay? And so if you want to be on live video camera, that's how you get to me. I try to pick new people every single time I do this. I do not try to repeat the same people, just because I want to give as many people who have never had the experience or never had a connection the opportunity to have a connection. So for those of you who are loyal watchers, thank you so much for tuning in. At the same time, I do try to change it up every single time. So just so y'all know, I don't try to stick to the same people to read for. If you want to ask me about your life, the way that works out is, and I'm going to do some TikTok videos about this, because this is what my book is about and what my upcoming course is going to be about as well. But the way that works is I focus my attention or intention on the question. So for example, if someone says, what do you see for my finances? That, for any psychic, your brain is like an octopus. It's going to reach out in like infinite different directions, because there's no specific line of sight. It's like if you're trying to connect to a satellite in orbit, unless you have the actual direction of where that satellite is, you can't just point it to the ground, because nothing's going to happen. Or you can't point it this way or that way. It can go into, you have to be very specific about where you're pointing it so you can get that connection. So it's the same thing with me. When someone asks me a question about their life or themselves, immediately I intend to understand the answer to that question. And so my brain will start to give me anything that associates with the answer. And it doesn't give it to me as like, oh, Ferny, this is what's going to happen in this and this and this and this. It doesn't work that way. I just start getting bits and pieces through my different psychic senses. And so I start picking up on all these pieces, but it's like I'm given it's like your life is like a 1,000-piece puzzle. I'm only going to be able to pull on 5 or 6 pieces. And from those pieces, they may not even be next to each other in the puzzle. So they're like all over the damn puzzle. And I have to like figure out what I'm sensing or what I'm tuning into, and then make an assessment, which is my guess of what I think is going to happen. It's a prediction. This is how all psychics work. And I explained this in the TikTok video. So when I focus my attention, my mind immediately goes towards the answer to that question, and it's going to provide me with anything that might help me to understand the answer. And so that's how it works for me. If I don't have a specific question, then what happens is my brain can go everywhere, and I don't really even know what to do. It's almost like if I have a car and I get in my car and someone says, okay, drive. And I'm like, okay, where? Like I can go this way, that way. So that's why when y'all ask vague questions or when you ask very general questions, you're probably not going to get the answer about the thing you were wanting to know about, because my brain went somewhere else that you didn't want it to go in. You wanted to ask me about something specific, a specific situation or a specific thing, and instead you just gave me a general question. And so my brain just went somewhere else, because I had to rework that in my head and ask myself a question. And when I do full readings for people and I do private readings, I structure my reading so I automatically will be talking for the first 20 minutes. People don't really talk. I talk for 20 minutes, and I structure it so that I ask myself intentional questions about each category: finances, work, career, relationships, etc. I ask myself specific questions because people are not very good at asking their own damn questions. So I ask myself questions. Every single full reading that's how I do it. When I do a Q&A, which is what we're doing right now is Q&A, this is when you have to ask a specific question, because this is how you're going to get your answer, but you've got to be specific. If you're not specific, it's too general. My brain's going to go everywhere and I don't have time to figure out what you want. So that's why I tell y'all, be specific with your questions. I hope y'all understand now better how this works, because a lot of people don't realize how this works. People have the assumption that psychics know all and see all, or we're supposed to. It's not written anywhere. It's not in the dictionary. It's never been the case, but people have that idea and that belief because of ignorant people, or because of Hollywood, or because of psychics who keep perpetuating that lie, and it's not true. We only sense things. We don't know everything, and that's a big difference. But I'm just really good at sensing things and putting the pieces together and figuring out things, or figuring out trends based off of that. So I'm really good at that part, and that's what makes me different. But that's how it works, y'all. So just so y'all know, because again, a lot of people have a lot of misunderstanding about this, and that's part of the reason why I do this work, and I'm so public about the way I do things, and I'm public about when I get something right, and I'm public about when I get something wrong, because I want people to understand what this actually is through my experience, and trying to be as honest and as authentic with y'all as possible. So hopefully that makes more sense to y'all, and hopefully y'all understand that. So, okay, let me get back to this because I know I've been talking a lot, but I've got a little more time to play with today, y'all, so that's why. So I might go a little bit longer than the traditional hour just because I have a little more time to play with since I'm not doing it with Shannon, doing the thing with Shannon later today, okay? All right, so let me go through here. Marie Sanchez. Hi, Ferny. Any messages for my daughter, please? Yes. So she's showing me a star. So I don't know if you have a picture with a star on it, or if there's a blanket or a piece of fabric with some sort of stars. It may also have a sun, but she's showing me something like this. So there's a reference to that. She also keeps showing me the number 20, number 20. I was going to say 2, but I'm going to say 20. 20. So I'm seeing the number 20 as being significant as well. So 20 might mean something. She also keeps acknowledging a baby brother. So I don't know if you're pregnant or if there's another child or a boy, but she's just said baby boy or baby brother. So there might be a brother or a boy that she wants to make reference to as well. Interesting. She also keeps acknowledging that she's going to give you a leaf. So if you find a really pretty leaf, or you have an experience with a leaf, and I'm not talking about going outside and walking underneath a tree. You're going to find a leaf if you do that. I'm talking about like if you get in your vehicle and there's a big, beautiful leaf in the middle of your seat, or if someone gives you a leaf as a decor, like she's going to give you a leaf. So to look out for that because she's going to bring one to you. Okay. Either that or there's a memory or a special thing with the leaf is what she's trying to make reference to. Richard Dearden. Hi, seeing if I should stay in as a realtor or going into something else. I don't think you're going to stay as a realtor. I think you're going to keep being a realtor for another year and 7 months. And then after that, I do think you're going to shift over in a little bit of a different direction. Interestingly enough, I feel like the universe is trying to kind of push you and give you a little bit of a kick in the butt because there either is a business or another business or another venture that either you've had an interest in, but you haven't given yourself permission to throw yourself into it. So there may be something else that you're being given kind of a kick in the butt to proceed forward towards. And I would say go for it, but plan it out properly and be realistic about it. People always and I was talking to a client earlier today about a business, and I'm like, people have these really weird, funny ideas about businesses. If I just start a business today, I'll be making enough money by the end of the month to support myself. Probably not. Most people don't have that kind of luck or don't have that kind of ability. Granted, I was able to do that, but that's a different situation there. But I would say most people don't, it's not going to work that easily. And you have to really put a little more effort and time into it. So get practical and realistic with expectations. And you might have to have something else going on the side, which I think you will, because it feels like you're going to start pushing yourself more towards this venture or business opportunity, but that may still be something that's going to take some time to really promote or develop. But while you're doing that, I also see you doing something that's more administrative that has to do with a facility or a place where there's either sporting goods or there's equipment that has to do with the sporting industry. But I'm seeing like administrative side of things. The reason why I'm thinking of this is because I kept thinking of a gym in my head, and I kept seeing you in an office that's connected to a gym. So I'm assuming, okay, this is either sports related or something like that. But there's something that may come up there in about a year and 7 months that you might start to do, and then also this other business as well as you're going to get into also. Okay. Why are you getting these notifications? I muted my notifications. I'm like, why are they showing up? Lacey Reed. Hi, Ferny. Any message from my nanny, Marie, could use some encouragement. So thank you. She keeps talking about 2 months. So I don't know if it's going to take 2 months for some changes to happen or 2 months for some things to get resolved. But she just said 2 months. I'm assuming she's talking about your situation because I felt like I wanted to apply that to your situation. But she's also acknowledging the number 13. So the 13th of a month may be significant, or January 3rd may be connected as well. She also keeps acknowledging butterflies. So butterflies are going to be a sign from her. And then also dragonflies as well, because I keep seeing butterflies and dragonflies. It's like the end of the name has to be fly, which is why I'm thinking butterflies or dragonflies. So that's where I'm going with it. She also keeps doing this. So this to me indicates either that there's a ring connection to your nanny, or There's something about an upcoming marriage, engagement, or wedding that she's trying to acknowledge or make a reference to. But that's how I would understand it. So there's a reference to that as well. Okay. Monica Viv. I dream of my grandma Ignacia, but my mom hasn't in a long time. Can you tell me if my grandma is helping me with my new opportunities in my life? Yeah, and here's the thing. The reason why some of us, because everybody's psychic, like I mentioned in my TikTok video, everybody's psychic. Your mama's psychic, your daddy's psychic, your brother's psychic, your sister's psychic, your uncle's brother, sister's wife's cousin's best friend is psychic. Everybody's psychic. But everybody has varying degrees of psychic. Not everybody can press a few keys on the piano and make a sound, but not everybody can play Mozart, right? So some of us are a bit more like aligned to the energy. So the reason why she's not dreaming of her as much is because as time progresses in the spirit world, spirit energy or the persona releases from the actual form of spirit, and it becomes more ascended in frequency and aligned with God. And so your grandmother's energy is ascending higher, and because it's ascending higher, she's becoming more infused with that light, loving energy, and the frequency is much different. She still exists, her persona is still intact, but it's not as conducive to communicating in the way she may have right after she passed. So over time, people tend to have less of that feeling of the person or less of that connection, not because they're not coming around, but because they're just ascending and it's a little harder. It's almost like if someone is on the first floor and I'm outside on the street and they're at the balcony, I can yell at them, they can yell back at me, and we're going to hear each other. But then they get a floor higher, and then they go to the penthouse. At that point, we're probably not going to hear each other, and it's going to be really hard to communicate. So that's why. And so her energy is ascending. That's why your mom's not having the easiest of times of having a connection with her. She can help herself to connect more to her, but she needs to raise her energy up as well. So in other words, your mom has to go to sleep, and what I would recommend is her going to sleep, thinking of some of the happiest or some of the best memories she's had of her mom, and then also just living in that memory state, and then falling asleep feeling good and not allowing herself to feel sad about it. And then also watch something funny right before you go to sleep, because funny humor will help your energy get higher. People who are like miserable or sad or unhappy are going to have the hardest time connecting with spirit. And whenever I've been in that state, it's a lot harder to do my jobs, just so you know. But you're more psychic or sensitive, which is why you're having an easier time of it. But you're asking me if she's helping you with these opportunities or these new opportunities. Here's the thing. They are very limited in what they can help us with. In other words, as soon as someone's passed, doesn't matter who they were to you, whether they were a spouse, a lover, a best friend, a cousin, doesn't matter. There's only so much that they can do to actually change the course of our life, because it goes against our soul's wishes. Our soul has a very specific plan for our life, even if we're consciously aware of it in a human form or not. So your life is going to go in the way that it's supposed to. The only thing that's going to change that is the way you respond in your life and how you react to situations. Your grandmother cannot force you to be successful or cause you to be happy. That's still your life, your stuff. So your grandmother doesn't have control and doesn't have the ability to affect your future. Now, she can try to give you a nice helping. She can give you a pat on the back. She can help you to know that you're headed in the right direction. She can affirm what you're already doing, but she can't basically tell you what to do unless what you're doing flat out goes against the plan that is set for your life and you're just being stubborn and going in a different direction. During the last year, and this is how I'll explain this to you. During the last year, I had a lot of clients who had dreams, and in their dreams, I saw it over and over and over again where people, the way that they were reacting to the world, to circumstances that we were dealing with, stuff going on in the news, the way people were reacting to stuff, when they would react one way, but then they would come to me and share their dreams with me, and their dreams were telling them something very different. And it's as if they were going against what they were being guided along through their dreams. And so that's on them. And then they're like, why is my life not working? Why do I keep struggling? Well, this is because you're running in, you're basically throwing yourself into the canyon when you need to kind of be going this way because there's stairs down that way. And so a lot of us are not very good at paying attention and doing what we need to do. We're very stubborn, and we tend to make mistakes even when we feel it on a deep level. We feel like this isn't right, but we are hard-headed and stubborn. And so a lot of us just make bad decisions in life. And so your grandmother is going to help to affirm for you when you're headed in the right direction, and I do think she does that. But as far as doing stuff for you, none of us get a free get out of jail card from spirit. We all have to live a life. We all have to deal with the same issues here. None of us is going to be saved from human existence. As long as you're human, you will have to deal with real human suffering in one way or another, but you can minimize that so that you can still have a pretty damn good life. Okay, but to answer your question, she's showing me flowers, or a pink or red flower. So there might be a pink or red flower or rose that she's wanting to make reference to or acknowledge for you. She also keeps acknowledging, thank you, the 23rd. So the 23rd of a month may also be significant or connected. She also keeps acknowledging that you keep misunderstanding her in her dreams. And so she might be trying to share some details or some information with you just to help you to pass that along as well. And you might be misunderstanding some of that. So pay attention, write your dreams down, and then break it down into a theme, and then you'll be able to make more clarity out of it. Okay? Go over here. Tween a win. Hey Ferny, is anything going to progress between me and B? I don't think so. I kind of feel like things just might. It almost feels like filling a balloon with air, but then there's a hole in the balloon. That's how I want to describe it. So I feel like with this situation, it's not that the intention isn't there or that there aren't the ingredients for this to do something. It's just that it's just not sticking, and this person is just not, it's not being built up into more. It's just kind of like going in, but then it's coming out. That's how I want to describe it. There may also be another person that's connected to either you or B that may be part of the equation that may be making it a little more complicated as well. Blazing Eye. Night Ferny, does my spirit guides have any messages for me, please? Thank you. Yes. So sometimes when we go down a path that we think in our head is going to work, or that it seems like that's the right course to take, and that specifically I think this has more to do with like your career or work situation. Sometimes when we go down this path and we try to like intellectualize things, we can talk us into sticking with things that are not really in our best interest. And I feel like, thank you. And what I'm thinking about, I keep thinking about another person that I know who, like, they had mentioned that they have this passion, but they're trying to find a way to make money from it. And I'm just like, look, this whole idea of that everything we have an interest in has to make money, we need to like get over that. So sometimes it's okay to just have a job and then have a passion. Sometimes you can turn your passion into a job. Not everyone will be able to turn their passion into a job. So if you have a passion, you may not be able to turn it into a job. And I think that in some ways you're holding yourself to expectations, and you're trying your brain, you might be overly fixating on like molding whatever you do into some sort of money-making opportunity or a change with your finances. And I kind of want you to like pull yourself back from that, and just like, if you got to work, pay your bills and do that, then just do it. Just get over that, and then focus on a passion, because that may actually help you to feel fulfilled. And some jobs are not that bad. And if it's just a job, then it's just the job. Don't give yourself a hard time about it. But they're making me feel like you need to focus on your passion, regardless of whether it makes money for you or not, just because you're missing out on opportunities to feel more fulfilled. And also there's some artistic, spiritual work there that needs to be done. And they're kind of wanting to like throw you towards that. Okay. Beyonce. Her Ferny. Hey Ferny. Do you see anything good coming my way? I'm in my second pregnancy. I'm like, okay, well, isn't the baby a good thing? Like, wouldn't the baby be a good thing that's coming your way? As far as like, I don't know if you're asking me about the baby or if you're asking me just like in general in life, which is, again, it's like my brain's an octopus, is going to go in different directions. When it comes to the baby, I do think that you need to be a little bit cautious of your blood pressure, because I feel like your blood pressure might spike if you start having weird like cramping in your legs, you probably need to mention it to your doctor, just because there might be something going on with your blood pressure that you probably need to pay more attention to. That's one thing. Another thing I also feel is that there is going to be a move or relocation, possibly by next summer, because I feel like there's a change there. I don't know if you would consider that to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I do think that it would be necessary at that point. So just FYI, there's a change that comes up in summer of next year, or by summer of next year, that feels like it's a relocation or a change for some reason. And then also, baby, follow it up with the doctor, make sure that the blood pressure is okay. I feel the baby's fine though. I'm not thinking there's any issues with the baby, but I feel like as far as the blood pressure, I'm a little worried about that, because I don't want you to have to deal with additional issues for your health, not for the baby. Excuse me, not for the baby, for your health. So I want you to be careful about that. And if you start feeling sensation in your legs, mention it to the doctor. Yes. So Holly's speaking. That's a good question. Okay. So Holly's question is, oh, Ferny, I keep having events with glass breaking randomly. It's been enough times to definitely get my attention. Can you tell me what this might be about? Yes. So here's the thing, Holly. I'm going to tell you a story first, and then I'll explain this. So my mother and my father was married. My mother was his mistress, for those of you who don't know my story. And so my mother was dating my father, and they only got together and had sex once, and that was enough for me to show up. So they only had sex once. It was in a hotel room. And what the story goes, what my mom tells me, is that their bed was in one part of the room, and the mirror in the hotel was in like the bathroom or the hallway of their room, this like hall part of their room. And so when they finished, or when they got to their moment, she said that the mirror in the hallway or in the bathroom shattered and broke. And she said it freaked my father out. Now, granted, I've never met my father, so I don't know. I'm nothing to do, nothing about my father, other than he died this year of COVID in March. That's the only thing I've ever known about my father. And then there's some other details from back when they were together. But the mirror broke. And so by default, you want to think, okay, mirror's breaking, that's bad luck, right? And I thought that too. I was like, oh my God, does that mean like I'm this evil person or something? What does that mean? And so she said it freaked him out because he was having an affair, and he thought that God was like trying to tell him he was, doing a sin or something. But my mother, he had wanted her to have an abortion, and she had planned on getting one because he didn't want to have any more children, and he already had 2 daughters, and he was pushing her to get one. And so she had planned on getting one. Granted, we're Catholics, so we come from a Catholic family. So my mother had planned on this, and then right before she decided to go forward with it, she had a dream. And in the dream, in the dream, there was a baby boy, so she assumed that was me. There was a baby boy in the dream, and all of the family were there, and I was bathed in light, and all of the family members were holding me up and like making a point of holding me up as if like, I needed to be born or something. That's what she got from it. So that dream caused her to reassess her decision, and then she ended up going forward with the pregnancy, because she saw it as God telling her, you need to have this baby. So that's what she did. Well, so for years I was like, I don't know what that meant, and I haven't really shared this with people because again, people want to run with that and say, "Oh, this means you're evil. See, you're a prophet of the devil," and people are crazy. So I just have never shared that with people. And then I have a hypnotherapist who I work with to kind of get to some core issues and stuff like that. And she's very spiritually evolved as well. And I had mentioned this to her once, and she said, glass breaks for 2 reasons. Glass either breaks because the reflection of reality there's such an offense to the reflection of reality that it causes a break, which is why people would assume it means something negative. That's why sometimes people cover mirrors when someone passes away, because of the energy and so forth, and it holds energy. The other reason is because when you sing a high-pitched tone, the vibration is so intense that it causes crystal to break, glass to break, and which is what happens when someone is singing in such a high frequency. She says, I believe, and this is what she believes. She says she believed that the reason why it broke was because the energy in that space, or me coming into being, was such high frequency that it shattered and broke the glass in the other room or the other place, the other area. And so I thought, I never thought of that. And so I never thought that way, because we always want to go to fear, right? With our concerns or whatever. So as soon as you mentioned that, that's the first thing that popped into my head. I think what's happening is the glass that's breaking, or what you're experiencing, is you're going through shifts in your energy and frequency, and that the way you're used to handling energy, channeling energy, receiving energy, being sensitive to energy is shifting. And as that's shifting, it's causing a bit of a variation of frequency where the way it's almost like, think of it as sound. The sound is shifting and changing enough to where it's causing these events to happen. So I think it actually has more to do with you and your energy shifting, not necessarily a bad thing. But that also indicates that there needs to be some sort of balance brought to the situation. So you probably need to work on just helping yourself feel more at peace and more balanced. You can do so through nature and spend more time in nature, because that might help to kind of realign your energy, so that way you can start to get this under control. Okay, so that's what I think it means to you. But I had to tell you the story so you understood, like, kind of like where I was going with that. Tanya Doe. Hey friend, any love messages coming through with the new guy I'm talking to? His name is Marcus. As far as Marcus is concerned, there could be a relationship from this, but you're just gonna have to be patient, because I feel like they've kind of clean up some things in their life. And I don't mean clean up like they're like really messed up and they need to, like, it just feels like there's some messiness around them in that way, especially like with relationships and with other people, and possibility of kids. So all of that mixed in, it can get a little messy. So what I would say is you probably just have to be patient with this person, because it feels like they've got some things they need to clarify for themselves. So I wouldn't say don't give it a shot, but you might feel a little bit of like a back and forth with this person. And so one minute they may seem really interested, the next minute they may make you feel confused because they're not really involving themselves, or they're kind of keeping their distance. So you just may have to have some patience with this person. This is not the only option that's coming up, by the way. There's another opportunity, or another person that comes into the picture. His name is I want to say it's like D, like a Dennis or a Daniel name. So I want to say it sounds like that, or Denton. It's got a like D association to it. But I feel like there's another person coming into the picture before the year's over with, or who you may start to talk to. So with Marcus, it's not bad. It's just, I don't feel like this person's where they need to be at for you to get from them what you want. Okay. Let's go here. Actually, what time is it? Oh, I guess I can, after this next one, I'll bring somebody on. Yeah, Neutral Phil. Neutral Phil? Is that how you say it? Yeah. I like your mariachi hat, by the way. Is that a mariachi? I love that mariachi hat. Hi Ferny. I love mariachis. I haven't heard real live mariachis in so long. I can't wait to hear them. Hi Ferny. Looking good as always. I feel very lost in life. I've always been an ambitious go-getter, but now I just don't know what's going on with me. Can you give me some insight? Yeah, I think you're suffering from depression. So I think that you have had your heart broken either by people in general, or by just people that you were feeling you thought you knew, and then you didn't know, and then things change. I feel like you're going through depression and you're recovering from a broken heart. Because of this, you don't have any ambition right now, because either you can't see a future for yourself, or you just don't see the point. And so that's why there's a lack of like ambition right now. Also, you have a tendency of getting a little scatterbrained, and you can get a little too scattered. And it's funny because I've mentioned this to people, and then I read something this morning about Matthew McConaughey, where he had said that because people were asking him, are you going to run for governor for Texas, or what are you going to do, And he said, if I can do something beneficial, or I can have real effect, then yeah, I'll do it. But if it's not going to be, what's the point of going in and doing all this work, and then 4 years later, somebody else comes in and erases it, or just undoes it. And so he's like, I want to be of service in a good way. And he linked it back to something in the past where even though he was an actor, and he also, he was an actor, and I think he was a musician, but he had a recording company for music, and he also had a production company as well. He also had a nonprofit, like a foundation or something like that, and then he also is a family man and has kids. So he has a lot of responsibilities on top of like any acting work that he was doing. And what he mentioned is the same thing that I've said to people before, which is you can try to do 5 things and only do a piss poor job of it or get a B in 5 things, or you can just focus on 2 or 3 things and get an A in that. And so he decided he needed to take some things off his plate so he can do A's with being a father, being in his family, his acting career as well, and then the nonprofit that he had. And so that's what his primary focus was. So he did away with his production or with his media, with his music company. Same thing for you. I think that sometimes you can get a little too scattered. You got too much in your head that you think you can knock out or you can do, and then you end up not doing enough in any direction, and then you lose momentum. That's a part of the problem as well. So that's one thing. Stop comparing yourself to everybody around you. You are who you are. You don't need to compare yourself to your peers, because where you are is where you are. Don't worry about it. I once did that and I felt awful because I was still working at Starbucks as a barista, and it was like already 30. I was 30 something years old. And then classmate from high school came in, and she had definitely moved herself up, and I felt like crap. And then 1 year later, everything changed on me, and I was actually in a much better place than I ever thought I would be at really quickly. So for you, stop comparing yourself. Things can change fairly quickly. Have enough faith in that, but also give yourself time to process what's happened in the last year or two, because you're still suffering from depression. And then also take some things off your plate and just focus on 2 or 3 things at a time. Okay? Then I think you'll start to feel better. And so have some more fun. Fun is really healing. Fun and just laughing is really healing for us. Can get us through a lot. Jennifer V. Hi, Ferny. When do you see me finding a location for my business? I think you'll actually you'll have maybe 2 or 3 separate options that are not going to feel perfect. I do think that in a couple of months, you might find something that might work for you. However, even though the space itself might work for you, the location, or there either is a location issue or a parking issue, but the actual facility or the place itself feels good. I would still go with it, because even though there may be parking issues, I think it's still a good place to do it at. But then there's 2 other options that feel like they have plenty of parking, but it just feels like one feels like a strip center, which I'm like, strip center. And then the other one feels like it's just not on the side of town or not in an area that you would want. And those may be 2 other options that come up for you. But it might take you a couple of months to find something that I think will work for you. Let's bring somebody on, because it's time. It's time. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's try somebody else. Let's see. Wanting you near, how much I wanted you home. There we go. That's right. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, how you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm good. What do you
Good.
want to ask me about?
I was gonna ask you about my mom's health.
As far as like if there's any issues that she needs to pay attention to?
Yes.
Yeah. One, I think that she might need to go and have her hip checked, and also her lower spine, because it feels like something's going on where there's like a fusion that's happening that might make it a lot more challenging for her, and she may start to feel more uncomfortable or have her legs falling asleep on her, which may make it harder for her to get up or start to move around. So that's one thing to pay attention to. Another thing also is I keep seeing fluctuations with her blood pressure. Is she on any blood pressure medication?
Yes.
Okay. Is she on 3 separate medications?
Yes.
Okay. One of them might not be interacting well with one of the others, or there might be something going on where either they changed the medication and it's affecting her, or she may need to get an adjustment with one of the medications, and that might make a difference for her blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, later this year, if she starts having a lot of wheezing, it might just be that the weather, the cold, either something's going on with her. I wouldn't say that it's well, it almost feels like there's a lot of reduced Did she get COVID before, Mom?
No.
Okay. I don't think this is COVID, but I'm seeing the capillaries not taking in as much oxygen, and it may just be because she might end up getting a little bit of congestion, or she might have a little bit of buildup in her respiratory system. If she starts having a word hacking or cough, again, I don't think this is COVID. This is something else. She might need. Was she a smoker when she was younger?
No.
Okay. Do you know if she lived with someone who was a smoker, or she lived near a factory that had a lot of smoke coming from it?
No.
Okay. It almost reminds me of whenever someone's been around a smoker or has been a smoker and the capillaries just don't take in as much oxygen. There may be a little bit of that going on. I don't know if it's the capillaries damaged themselves or it's more of like an adult asthma developing, but she'll probably need to go to a doctor and get an inhaler just so that way whenever there is this issue, she can just take the inhaler and it'll clear things up for her.
Okay.
Okay.
Does my cousin Danny have any
Sure.
messages for me?
Sure, cousin Danny. He showed me the number. Thank you. He showed me the number 31. Do you know if the 31st of a month is significant or March 1st is connected?
My birthday is August 31st.
Okay, so he's probably wishing you a happy birthday since it just passed. So he's making reference to that. He also keeps acknowledging the number 7 or 17. Do you know if the 7 or 17 is significant also? The 7 would be the 7th of a month. The 17th would be the 17th of a month, or it would be the month of July.
Both of my sons are born in July.
Got it. He may just be acknowledging your sons or being aware of your sons and just making sure that you know he's coming around them. He also keeps acknowledging the key. Was he stubborn, a little bit of hard head?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know if he, by his own lifestyle, it kind of brought about his own passing?
See, I don't know how he passed.
Okay. The way he's showing it to me, it's not like I go and like take my own life. That's not what I'm talking about. The way I feel is almost like I make bad decisions or I'm not following up or doing what I'm supposed to do, and then it triggers something and it leads to my passing, and that's how I want to describe it. Do y'all know, or do you know there's rumors that he either was sick or he was ill with something, but he didn't tell anybody or he just wasn't talking about it?
Yeah, we didn't even know he was sick.
Okay, because that's what he's making me feel like he blames himself for being sick and what was going on with that, but he also makes me feel like he just didn't want to share it with everybody just because he didn't want anybody's pity. He didn't want anybody to just be making a big deal about it. He also makes me feel, thank you, he's covering his mouth. Did you not get a chance to say goodbye, or were you not there when he passed?
No.
Got it. He says it's okay. He says he understands. He says he didn't want anyone to just make a big fuss over it. He also says that he was ready to go. And so he makes me feel like it was time, but that he was ready to go. He also said Dolores or Doris, or Dolores. Do you know there's a Dolores, or Dor sounding female name connection?
Not that I know of.
Okay, there's a female he's acknowledging. I'm assuming this is someone that's passed because I'm thinking that's where I want to go with it. It's a female, it's older, and the name starts with like a D-O or D-O-R. So it's like a Dolores or Doris or Dorothy sounding name. It's got a D-O-R sounding name. But he's making reference to someone being there who's passed away. It doesn't feel like family, it feels like a friend. So this is either a friend to your family or a friend to your mom. So you might need to ask her and she might know who this is.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. Well, you take care of yourself. Thank you for wearing a mask. Appreciate that.
You.
And you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's see. Who's next?
What do I do?
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi, how
Oh
you
my
doing?
God. Good.
Aw.
I can't believe it.
Oh,
Finally.
you're so funny. Awesome. Well, how you doing, Mama?
I'm doing good.
Oh, what do you want to ask me about?
Well, first I want to ask about my dad. Like if he has any messages for me last month.
So your dad,
Mhm.
first of all, did your dad make a bunch of mistakes as a father when he was younger? Because he's almost like wanting to apologize. And he's coming across with some apologies. So do you know if he made a few mistakes or he just wasn't able to spend as much time or be around as much?
Yes. Well, to me, and if you can hear me, you let him know. I don't think he made. I know that he loved me. I think that as a man, as a
Well,
husband,
yeah.
he made mistakes,
Well, I
but as a
think that,
father,
yeah, I
it's
think
everything
in
to
his
me.
mind, because it's like the example that you set and how you are matters, right? And so
Hmm.
he's acknowledging, like, if you've ever had to deal with issues with relationships or just themes in relationships
Hmm.
coming back around over and over again, he blamed himself for some of that because that might have put it in to your like psyche and energy where it came up as a theme for you as well. But he is
Hmm.
apologizing for these things. He is apologizing to mom, but he is also wanting to let you know he does love you, but also he wasn't ready. I think he wasn't ready for all of the responsibilities or just to be the person that people wanted him to be or needed him to
Yeah.
be at that time. He also, thank you. Do you know if your dad had cancer?
No.
Okay. Here's what he's showing me, which is why I'm going with this. He is showing me his blood. He's also showing me like the body, it's almost like something in my body starting to attack itself or
Yeah.
starting to like almost as if the body's turning on
He
itself.
died from AIDS.
Okay. Oh, this makes sense to me. Does
AIDS
got it?
complications.
Because he was showing me his
Hmm.
blood and like something attacking itself as if it's the enemy. And so I was like, "What is this?" And it's almost like, "Is this like cancer?" This makes sense to me.
And
He's
that
like,
was hard for me to even say that. I could
"No,
never
yeah,
say
yeah,
it before. Yeah.
no, it's fine." Yeah, he is acknowledging this. He says that there's almost an avoidance from him. Like either he didn't want to deal with it or he just didn't want to address it properly. So either he didn't get treatment as often, he didn't stick with treatment consistently, or he didn't pursue enough treatment or medical support for this. But
Right.
he also makes me feel like he says that sometimes he felt very embarrassed himself. And he sometimes would just be either he could say things or come across kind of rude because it was his way of covering up his embarrassment. It's almost like I want to still feel like I'm worth something, but because by
Yeah.
saying this or sharing my story, he felt like he wasn't. So that's where some of that behavior was coming from. Andy or An there's a name he's trying to give me. It sounds like Andy, but I don't know if it's Andy or Angie. Do you know there's an Andy or an Angie name?
There's an Anna.
Okay. Who is that to him?
That's my mother.
Okay. He says he came to her after his passing to try to apologize and make amends personally or directly to her. So if she had a dream, if she didn't share it, yeah, thank you. She may have had a dream and didn't share it or didn't want to talk about it. But he's
Hmm.
acknowledging this with her. He also, thank you, birthday. Thank you. Are we within 30 days of a birthday?
Of her birthday?
Of a birthday. I'm assuming it's a birthday. It could be her birthday,
Oh
but
no, it was my daughter's birthday in September 25th.
okay, so yeah, so then this would have been within 30 days. So he's acknowledging the birthday within 30 days. He's wishing her a happy birthday. So he's making
Oh.
reference to that. He just repeated your mom's names twice. Is there another Anna or another An name?
Brianna.
Oh, got it.
My daughter's name, maybe
Okay,
Brianna.
got it. So he was trying to give me your daughter's name as well. Then he was. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was
Yeah.
repeating your mom's Anna sounding name. I was like, "Okay, what is that?" So now I know where he's going with it. So he's just wishing your daughter a happy birthday as well. He also keeps showing me a picture of him with a weird hat on or a big hat on. Do you know there's a picture of him with like either a big hat or a straw hat on?
They could have been, but I literally only have one picture of
Oh,
him.
that's
You
okay.
know, well, a couple. You know, there were a lot of his pictures got lost.
Okay, this picture's going to show up because if he's showing it to me, he wouldn't be showing
Hmm.
it to me unless it's going to show up at some point. So just remember that I said that. There's
Yeah.
a picture of him wearing a hat or a straw hat or something on his head. It
Okay.
almost feels like a kind of picture you would take if someone was at the beach or someone was at the ocean. That's how I
Oh,
want
he
to.
used to love. Yeah, he loved the beach
So
and.
this is what he showed me is this image. He also
Okay.
keeps acknowledging being honored at the ocean as well. Do you know if someone actually did something to honor him at the beach or wrote something in the sand?
I don't know,
It says
but I
dad on
do.
it says dad on the beach. And it says dad in the sand, so he's writing dad on the sand. So I'm assuming that someone did something and put dad in the sand.
Mm,
So I'll leave that with you. It's okay.
yeah,
You ask your family. That's okay.
one
He
day it will
also
make sense. I
yeah,
know.
he's also showing me a tattoo. Do you know if someone has a tattoo for him or if he had a tattoo of y'all?
No,
Okay.
I have thought at at points of my life to get a tattoo, but I want to do something that is more meaningful than putting something on my
That's okay.
body.
He's showing
Yeah.
me he's showing me forgiveness spelled out, but it's like a tattoo. So I don't know if this is a forgiveness tattoo or if there's a piece of metal jewelry that's got forgiveness on it that is worn. But there's something about this that he's making reference to. So just remember that I said that because it might
Or
mean
does he
something.
want me to forgive? Maybe like forgive
He's
not
well, he's already asked you for
him
forgiveness.
necessarily, but like other people.
Well,
Or,
I think
or
he's
no.
already asked you for forgiveness for himself, but he's
Yeah.
acknowledging this thing feels like I'm seeing something written out in cursive and it looks like forgiveness unless it's an F name and I'm totally misinterpreting it in my head.
Well, or
Which,
maybe he wants me to forgive not him, but other people that have hurt me, and it's hard for me to forgive. Maybe.
it's
Or
possible. I mean, if you have an issue where forgiveness is really hard for you right now and it's causing a lot of internal conflict, then it could be your dad trying to tell you need to work on forgiving and releasing yourself from being attached to this pain. But I would still say there's something written out because he's being very specific about it. So keep your eye open for something that looks like forgiveness in a tattoo or in a piece of metal, like a piece of jewelry. Because I'm seeing like something that looks like it's cursive and it's like engraved with this forgive or forgiveness wording on it. So there's just a reference there. I'll leave that with you. He says that even though he didn't do what he felt he should have done 100% of the time, he still says he's proud of you. He also says that you're a lot stronger than people want to give you credit for, but he also says strength can be helpful to you, but it can also be a hindrance when you don't let people in because you don't want to get hurt again. He says you're going to need to let people in.
okay.
All right, sweetheart. And but look out for the butterfly because he sent you the butterfly.
A butterfly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So look out for it's going to be a pure white butterfly, completely white.
Thank you. And thank you so much for accepting my request.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself, sweetheart.
Bless you.
Bye-bye.
God bless you.
All right, let's see. Going to the next person. Hello. Gracie? Gracie.
Oh.
Hi, how you doing, sweetheart?
Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
Oh, this is your first. There you are. I was like, oh, no, it's gonna mess up. How you doing, sweetheart?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. What do you want to ask me about?
Oh yeah, I don't really have anybody that has passed away except for my grandma, like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she has any messages for me. But I actually didn't. I kind of knew her, but not that well. Mostly towards the end of her life, I actually met her and got to know.
Yeah, she's showing me. A few things with her. There's another female on her level as well. Do you have another grandmother that's also passed?
No, but I've always had this vision of these two women, like it's these two like older women. I think they're both on my dad's side.
Okay. Do you know if your grandmother was actually your grandmother?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. Because what she's showing me is she is showing me the situation where someone had a child. They didn't raise their own child and they left the child with a family member or with someone else. And then she's showing me this like storyline. So do you know if something like that happened?
Yeah, my dad, basically he was left to his own devices, like to raise himself.
Okay, so she's acknowledging the situation, and so she is wanting to apologize. Well, so she's wanting to acknowledge this, and she's apologizing for having done this. I don't feel like she was well or she was okay. And I feel like she like just mentally. And I feel like either mentally or at that time in her life, some things were happening where it was just a really challenging situation. And so she's acknowledging and apologizing for this. So she wants to extend her apologies to the family or to your father. She also keeps, thank you. She's saying something, which is not really a word, Haradin, which is garden.
She was very close to our indigenous roots than Spanish.
Okay.
Side.
Do you know if she ever did any kind of, like, if she ever was a believer in, like, herbs or, like, special herbs with gardens or, like, making teas for stuff? Because she's making, okay. She's, like, very much about, like, I think she tried to help herself out during that period, or tried to like work through her work in the jardín or the garden, etc. But she's also almost like sending it to you as if you might experience or have something that's going to be connected to herbs or special like garden that may tie into her. So she's making reference to that. She also says that she is, thank you, white doves are a connection to her. So if you see white doves or experience white doves, that's a sign from her as well. Chicago, thank you. Are you planning on going to Chicago, or did you take a trip to Chicago?
No, but it's like kind of work related, but I'm not going there or anything.
Okay,
like that.
okay. Because what she's showing me is, she's showing me a picture of you. You know that place in Chicago where you get on that glass thing? It's like way high up.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, yeah. I've seen that, so she's showing me that. So it's very likely you might have an opportunity to go there or possibly even move there. And so just FYI, if you get that opportunity, you might want to consider it, because there's a lot of opportunities that could branch out into, even if it means completely stepping out of your comfort zone and also with your friends and family. So just FYI with that. She also keeps acknowledging Anissa? Is there an Anissa name connection to your family? Not to your grandma, that grandma, but to someone else in the family? I almost want to say anise, like the spice anise, but I feel like I want to say it as a name. So it's like Anise or Elise, or it could be Alice, but it's like an Elise sounding name.
No, I mean, we have our niece. Her name is Camila, and my sister is about to have another baby, and I think maybe that sounds like what they're looking for a name. Okay. But
here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not sure that's it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking she's acknowledging there's an Elise. This is a person that's passed, and they passed from cancer. So there's a person there who passed from cancer who has a name similar to that she's also letting us know that's also there in spirit. Okay. Wow. But she's with you. She's with you, sweetheart.
Okay. And then do you see any future partner in my life, or like a family, or am I going to be a professional Thea? Because that's okay too, but like, either way.
Yeah, you're going to get married in 2 years.
What?
Fast. Yeah. People are going to be freaked out because they're going to think, what the hell are you doing? They're going to think you lost your mind. I think you'll meet this person probably in February or March of 2023, and then by the end of the year, there's like a really fast wedding. And so I am seeing you like literally married within the year you met the person. So it's going to move really quickly.
I would do that.
Yeah. The name, I want to say that the person's name, they have a small spot or a mark on their nose, so you'll recognize them by that. But the name of the person is with a B.
A B.
Mm-hmm.
And short kids B. Or no kids?
Yeah, you have the opportunity to have 2 children, but I feel like you'll only end up having 1. Okay. Just because you're going to be one of those moms that is like super like obsessed with their kid and like controlling, like no, and like you're going to drive everybody crazy. So they're going to be like, you need to have another kid, but you're like, it's like 1 kid is stressful enough. So just FYI with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You take care of yourself.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Let's see. Let's go here. Five, 4. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hi, Ferny. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, either pull over or put the phone down and just talk audibly, because I don't want you to die.
Oh, yeah,
I'm already dealing with you. And, yeah, no, it's fine, Go ahead and pull over and get yourself safe.
Okay.
So what do you want to ask me about?
So, tomorrow's my bridal shower, and I've been thinking about, my brother a lot. So
yeah,
that's been hard.
Yeah. Let me connect, because I don't want you to give me too much information. First thing he's acknowledging, he's putting his hand over his mouth. Did you not get a chance to say goodbye? Or was he not able to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, because he's acknowledging that. He also
Thank
you. Is there a Joe or Joseph name? J-O?
Yes.
Okay, because he's acknowledging that as well. Is there a J alive?
Yes.
Okay, so he's wanting to acknowledge that person or the situation with that, so he's making reference to that. He also keep thinking, is there also a Hector or a HE name also?
Hector. HE, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Hector or
No.
Heather. It could be Heather, but it's like HE.
I don't think so, but I can try to see.
Okay, here's what I would say. There's a female in spirit and an older female in spirit, because he's giving me a few. He's like letting other people in. I'm like, stop it. Like, I want to talk to you, but he wants to make sure I get this connection for this other person. There's a HE name like Heather or Hector who's still alive, who has an older female who passed away from either chest cancer or breast cancer. The lady in spirit is wanting to say hello to this HE name. So just FYI to pass that along. So just FYI, and it could actually be connected to the JO name as well, but I'll leave that with you because you might have to put those pieces together and figure that out. He keeps acknowledging the number 12 also. Do you know there's a significance to December or the 12th of a month? Your brother?
The 12th.
Mm-hmm. So either the 12th of a month is significant or December is significant. He's also talking about a move.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so he's bringing that up or making reference to that. He also keeps acknowledging 2 babies. Do you know if there are 2 babies that were miscarried, lost, or terminated?
Yes.
Okay, so he's acknowledging that as well. He also says there's another baby coming in or another baby that may be born as well. So to FYI, there may be another baby coming into the family within the next year or so. He's repeating his name. Do you know if someone has named a child after him?
Yes.
He's aware of this, so he's making reference to this as well. He also keeps showing me a metal cross and then also another cross, but it's different. Do you know of a piece of metal that has a cross on it, but it's not actually like the shape of the cross? You know how like there's like little like flat plates of metal and then there's a cross? That's how he's showing it to me. Do you know if there's something like that connected?
That was his or just someone that has it?
I'm assuming that would be his, but he showed me a little piece of metal. It's flat and then there's a cross on it.
Okay.
Okay. And then he's also showing me another cross that's an actual cross like a rosary. So do you know there's also a rosary connected to your brother as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's showing me both of those. So those both exist. So just FYI, you may have to look at the other metal or metal. It's because it's like a flat with the cross in it. It's not like just the cross and the necklace. It's like flat with the cross in it, the other piece. So he's acknowledging that other piece as well. So he's making reference to this. Okay. He also keeps acknowledging that he showed up in your dreams not that long ago to just let you know that he was still around and that he's aware of what's up in your life. So he's making me feel like he showed up not that long ago. I want to say within this year. So he's making reference to that. He also keeps acknowledging, are you planning on having a picture of him out for the wedding or putting a picture out?
Yes.
Because he knows that you're planning on doing this. So he's acknowledging this. He also says he expects it to be a really good toast, or he says he's going to like cause like, he's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. So he's acknowledging it better be a good toast. So he's making reference to that. He also keeps acknowledging, thank you. Okay, he's making my fingers or my hand hurt. Do you know with his passing, do you know if something was affected with his hands or with his finger, or he was experiencing pain in his hand or finger before he passed?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, because I'm feeling some weird like sensation on the tips of my fingers, and it almost feels like something hurts or almost like something's cut. So he's doing something. I'm like, what are you showing me? And he's like making me feel the sensation here. So he's making reference to this. He also keeps acknowledging that he had fluid building up or he felt like he was choking. Do you know if he had fluid in his lungs or there was some fluid that was affecting him?
No.
Okay, he's making me feel like I'm choking. Do you know if he felt like he was choking or if he had any fluid that was...
Well, yeah, I know he took something, so.
Okay. He makes me, do you know, was he found?
Was he what?
Found?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when they found him if there was fluid around his mouth?
No.
Okay. He keeps making me feel like he kept thinking he was choking, or like he says, I was trying to swallow and I felt like I couldn't swallow, or like I couldn't, like nothing was passing. And he says it was weird. He says, I felt like something was weird. Again, bringing me back to my fingers, he kept feeling weird, sharp sensations in his fingers. And then he keeps talking about this sensation in his throat or this fluid and feeling like he was choking, because that's the way he's describing it. He also keeps acknowledging having a seizure. Do y'all know if he also was a seizure prone or he had a seizure?
No. I
Okay,
don't.
he's like trying to show me all of the details of when this happened. So he's making reference to this sensation in his fingers, feeling like I'm seizuring, and then also having this sensation of something in my throat. I know that when someone has a seizure, people say they want to clear their mouth because it could cause some issues there, but he's giving me similar sensations. And I know you're saying that there's another issue because he took something, but he's showing me these other references. So there's something else to this that I think he's trying to make an acknowledgement or make reference to. This is not the first time he did something this stupid because he makes me feel like he did this before. So do you know if he had actually tried this or done this before?
I think so.
Okay, because he's acknowledging that he had done this before and that this is not the first time he did something this stupid. He also keeps acknowledging that he just was being absent-minded. He's not making me feel like there was an intent behind all of this. Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay, because he's being clear about that. He's also showing me an anchor or like a thing with the the boat thing that you move when you change the boat. He's showing me either something like that or an anchor. Do you know there's something like that connected to your brother, either like something on an outfit or something in a piece of jewelry that's also connected to him?
Yes.
Okay, because he's making reference to that as well. Do you also have a bunny rabbit or a white bunny or a white bunny looking thing that's connected to your brother?
I
It's either like a white bunny rabbit stuffed animal or a picture of a white bunny because I was thinking of Bugs Bunny, or it's like a Playboy sign, the Playboy white bunny. But there's something like that he's making reference to. Do you know something like that that's connected to him also?
yes.
Okay, he's fine, sweetheart. He is with you, and he's gonna be with you when it's time to go down to the aisle. So he is with you, sweetheart. He also wants to acknowledge your mom, so he's making reference to your mom as well. He also says that he does send the birds, and also owls are going to be a sign from him as well. So if we hear hooting or an owl, that's also a sign from him.
Okay.
All right, sweetheart. You take care of
Thank you so
yourself.
much,
You're
Ferny. You
welcome,
too.
sweetheart.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm going to do a couple more of the text ones here before I bounce off and then get back on for our study group time. So let's. Jacqueline Roslavsky. I think that's. I hope I said it correctly. Hi, Fernie. How are you? I watch you all the time and have been trying to get a reading for a while. Could you please connect with my grandmother Rose Kasparek for me? Yeah. Okay. So when I tune into to your grandmother, the first thing she's repeating her name. So there might be one or two separate versions of this name that she wants to make reference to, or she's acknowledging two other people who may have similar names to her. She also keeps showing me dough. I don't know if she enjoyed baking or she had a very special like bread or a loaf that she was very good at, but she's showing me something like this. She also keeps acknowledging, thank you. Don't know if you have decor or collectibles from like Christmas or from the holidays that are connected to her, but she's showing me stuff like this, like as if like things that are hanging that would be on like a tree. So there's a decor or decorations that she's making reference to. She also keeps acknowledging the number 7. So the 7th of a month may either 7 or 17. I'm going to say 7. The 7th of a month is significant, or July is connected because she's making reference to that as well. She also keeps acknowledging, she says that her mouth doesn't hurt or that it doesn't hurt anymore to use her mouth or to move her mouth or her teeth. So there either may have been some issues there that were affecting her before she passed, or this was something that she is just making reference to, or she's combing your hair. She's like showing me a brush, so she's like combing your hair. So she's like doing this like gesture of combing your hair. So that may also be significant, or she may actually have, or she's trying to say something about your hair, but she's doing this. So she's acknowledging that. There's also there's a little figurine or a little something that reminds me of like either a mouse or Mickey Mouse, but there's something little that she's making reference to or just wanting me to acknowledge that, because I'm seeing like like when I see the nose and the ears, but I don't know if it's actually like a mouse figurine that's connected with her, that's like a little mouse thing, or it's actually Mickey Mouse that's a reference to her as well. Okay, let's go here. Um, Lynn Culp. I just had hip replacement surgery. Been hearing weird noises around the house. Are my mom and dad or dad trying to tell me something? I don't think that the noises are being caused by your parents. They are acknowledging you. Actually, it's interesting because your dad. I keep seeing cotton candy or clouds. I don't know if there's like a picture with clouds and your dad, or if there's an actual cotton candy reference with dad. But he's acknowledging or showing me like something that reminds me of that because it reminds me of cotton. So there's a reference to that. Your mother's also doing this, so there might be a necklace that is connected to her or that's relevant as well. But the noises that I think you're hearing is, I think that as you're recovering, I think that you're more aware or sensitive, either because of the medication you've taken that's made you more sensitive, which can cause that to happen, and you're just picking up on energy, or just the state that you're in and the recovery period is causing you to just be more aware of things that in the past you may not have been as aware of. I don't feel like they're ghosts though, or spirits. I actually feel like they're after images or after effects, which means that people living in a property or living in a space for a long enough time, when they repeat habits or they repeat things, it becomes a norm, and that energy becomes something that is embedded in that space. And so even if someone passes away, for example, when my grandfather passed away, for years after that, my step-grandmother would always hear him shuffling in the middle of the night. And that's because every night around the same time, he would shuffle over to the bathroom and use it. So his energy and that intent that echo is there. And so it's not him, he's not shuffling his feet every night, he's just left behind some of that energy. And so she's picking up on that. And that's what's happening there. So for you, I feel like you're having a similar experience as well. Okay. All right, guys. I love you all. I will be back next Wednesday. I'm going to be back in a few minutes because we're going to do like a Q&A study group type of thing. So I'll see y'all in a few minutes for those of you who are going to stick around. Okay. Bye, everybody. Love you.